These teams haven't met since January the 31st. It's been a minute now. Now it matters a ton. And early on, Kyrie Irving in his bag and in his moccasins, doing his thing. 13 in the first quarter. Irving with the handles and the scoop. That's 3 the hard way. Ultimately, right before the half, that big bucket, he had 24 in the first half. And Jaden McDaniels was the story for Minnesota. We know him as a defensive stopper, absolutely, but he was knocking home threes, 5 3-pointers in the first half, the most he'd had in any half in his career. Jaden McDaniels had 19 in the first half, which matches his most in a half in any game in his career. How about Ant? Big time hit from there. And the math adds up to a 3-point lead for the Wolves at the half. Third quarter, Mavericks down 3. Nobody better at running that action. Luka up top, Daniel Gafford. Great lob from Luka, and it's a 1-point deficit. Wolves down 1. And no. Oh, Karl Anthony Towns gets this one about a foot beyond the rim. Drops the hammer. And Minnesota down 1. On the run, Naz Reid gets the block on Josh Green. Play goes the other way. Keep an eye on Reid. That's your man, Stanford Steve.
Bucket.
It is that. Counted up for 3. Tremendous effort. Starts the break, in a sense, with the block and ends up getting the corner 3, 6 man of the year. Big time effort play there. Fourth quarter. Mavericks down. Luka. Patented. Step back. Rattles it home. Mavs down 1. Next Mavs possession. Luka, speaking of patented, I thought he was going to step back. Didn't need to. All 3 of these. The Mavericks up 2. Leading by 4. Doncic pulls up off glass. There's the follow. Derek Lively, the second. Been such a big part of this playoff run. A 13-0 run, and it's a 4-point game. But there goes Towns. To Rudy Gobert, it's a 2-point game. Towns from way out. Big time hit. About 4.5 to go. Home team on top by 1. Wolves up 1. Make it 4. Ant. Huge hit. But on the next Mavericks possession, Luka, step back. What a bucket. Mavs down 1. About 2 to go in the game. Here comes Luka. Probing the defense, kind of loses it. Good find in the corner. Kyrie bounce past P.J. Washington. Mavericks lead by 2. Next T-Wolves possession. It's Mike Conley. Pretty clean look, just rattles out. There's the putback, but hold on. Bucket interference. Let's take a look from above. You'll be able to tell from here. Ooh. Steve?
Let him play.
Assess.
Let him play.
That's rough. Under a minute. Luka again. Huge bucket as he had 15 in the fourth quarter. It's still a 4-point game. Late. And there's a quick pull. Oh, man. Mike Conley fouled.
Where?
I don't know. His foot was behind the line? So he makes the one. You're going to need everything to go just right if you're rooting for the home team. It does not. And if you're rooting for the road squad, that is a big-time dub as the Mavericks, for the first time under Jason Kidd, pick up a Game 1 victory. The previous 5 series openers under him, they did lose. Still won 4 of the 5. So this is uncharted territory, but in a very positive way as they get a victory that gives them, much like the Panthers, now they've got not home ice, but home court as they head into Game 2. Here's Kyrie afterwards on the significance of the win with Ashley Shamati.
All right, Kyrie, Game 1s have been a little bit of a kryptonite for this team. What was different, though, for you guys tonight?
We came in very prepared, and we knew that they were coming off a grueling Game 7, so we wanted to make sure that we pushed the pace and Game one is a fill-out game, so we knew they were going to come out with high intensity, and we just had to match it. And in the fourth quarter, I felt like we got timely stops, and we did the right things. We did the little things.
You had 24 first-half points, Kyrie. What did Minnesota give you? What did you see from them that allowed you to be so aggressive so early?
I saw the paint wide open once Rudy wasn't in the game, and then, a few times in transition, I felt like I could take advantage. So I was just trying to beat them up the court, get some easy ones before I dealt with Ant Edwards in the half court defensively.
Oh, absolutely. And you've been in this situation in the playoffs, in the conference finals. How tough is it truly to win on the road, and how important is it to win a game one to set the tone in the series?
Yeah, this is the toughest time of basketball right now. I mean, it's the best players in the world, only 4 teams left, so any little mistake that you make out here, the other team's going to capitalize. But it's a great test. It's a great testament to our hard work throughout the season and all the little things we've been doing for each other on and off the court.
And last question, Kyrie, you said game ones are a little bit of a feel-out game. So what are you feeling out so far that you're going to take into game two?
Well, this game's about to be a wash in about 48 minutes, or an hour or so. It doesn't matter. We know they're going to come in next game and give us their best shot again, and we just got to be able to match it and be able to continue to stick to our game plan.
Kyrie, thank you so much. We'll see you Friday.
Appreciate you.
I don't know. I think we just came out flat today. I mean, and then we found our energy, then we went back to being flat. So I think it was just on us. Everything was on us today. I didn't get downhill as much. Yeah, just stuff like that. We was just a little tired probably.
For both of you guys, you kind of, between the two of you and Nikhil and Kyle as well, kind of cycled who was guarding Luka and Kyrie. How does that work, kind of choosing who gets it, and how did you guys feel like you handled those matchups today?
I mean, if Jaden's in the game and just one of those guys is in the game, Jaden is probably going to guard one of them. But if both of them are in the game and it's me and Jaden going to be on them, or if Nikhil, all three of us is in the game and I'm a little tired, I'll tell Nikhil to give me a break. But I think we did a pretty good job, man. Both of them took 24 shots. Luka took 26. Kyrie took 23, actually. He had 30 and 33. So I think we did a pretty good job.
Terrible offense down the stretch. Bad shots, turnovers, no composure. And thought for the same at the end of the first half. We haven't really closed quarters very well, closed halves very well over the last handful of games. It cost us one game in the Denver series. And it certainly had an impact on this game tonight too. So we got to be better in clutch moments.
You shot a lot more threes than you normally do. Was that part of the plan going in, just with their rim protection, or what did you think of the selection overall?
I thought most of them were good shots. To be honest with you, making the right play, kicking out. I thought there were even more threes to be had. So.
You mentioned the rim protection as a factor in this series. How did you see the presence of Lively and Gafford at the rim impact your offense?
I thought we could have finished a little bit more around the rim. I thought we did kick out a lot. I thought they were big in there, but I thought we got a lot of really good looks, to be honest with you.
Luka described how significant the win was, particularly given the building where they got it. Minnesota was awfully good at home, 30-11, but now in the playoffs, just 3-3, and they face the same thing the Rangers faced in the Stanley Cup playoffs, a monstrous game at home on Friday. The fourth quarter, it's a back and forth, haymakers are being landed. Dallas gets this victory. Luka and Kyrie, right? They teamed up exactly the way a duo should. Ultimately, the difference in this game was what?
Dallas made critical defensive stops when they had to, and these were like textbook defensive possessions. It wasn't like Minnesota contributing to it. They loaded up on Anthony Edwards when they had to, and you even saw great rotations out of Luka, great effort out of Luka, came up with a couple deflections. Play of the game defensively was the lob he broke up to Rudy Gobert at the end of a great defensive possession. You saw Luka backpedal and get as high as he can, I think, off the ground to break up that lob. And then, Scott, on the other end, you saw Luka's greatness with shot making, controlling the game. And I had a pretty good feeling against this defense and these type of defenders. Luka was going to have a lot of success, but I think this was the best I've seen him as a shot maker late in games in this postseason. Because throughout games, he starts to drag a little bit with his leg. He doesn't look as fresh late in games. That wasn't the case tonight. And once they got into a situation where it was a one-possession game, he knew the way he was going to have to win this game was going to be as a scorer. And he had some big-time one-on-one possessions where he got to his spot right there, for instance, hits the leaner in the and one. Great possession right there for Dallas.
Luka will join us here on SportsCenter as well. Look forward to asking him about the fourth quarter and about as soon as you said it, I wrote it down and I underlined it. Just think of how many years have we been sitting here talking, and how many years we've been talking about Luka, and how many times have you praised his defense? And now it's a Western Conference final, and his effort, and that's the key, on that end helps to be the difference in a victory. That's a little ironic, isn't it?
A little teaser. That's going to be a big part of the touchscreen because he had some hard closeouts on guys to the three-point line. You know, expending a lot of energy when you're carrying that burden on the other end. For him to do that on the defensive end, I mean, that's what it takes.
Right.
And he did it tonight, man. He laid it on the line. They were very, very smart how they handled late-game possessions. And I thought, look, Minnesota took 49 three-point shots in this game. The most they've taken in the postseason is 40. That was clearly Dallas' strategy. Load up on the paint, take as many threes as you want. Eventually, you'll cool off. 7 for 24 in the second half.
And that was the thing. At halftime, you're like, they can't possibly shoot like this. That's like, I don't care what level you're playing. You just presume they can't stay that hot. They didn't. Was that goaltending on Karl-Anthony Towns?
That's as close as one I've ever seen. Honestly, I'm not sure. A sliver of that basketball was coming down on top of that cylinder. I guess by the letter of the law, that's offensive goaltending, but that's as hard as one for me to figure out on a replay as I think I've ever seen on a tip dunk like that.
That's tough.
I'm on fire.